This is pretty bizarre because they were the only ones that ran out of fuel, and like just of all people, it had to be the 9 car, and they needed a win today. I said it yesterday. I've been saying you cannot rely on Daytona, and now they have to. They have to rely on Daytona, and so does his teammate Alex Bowman. So Hendrick Motorsports, they have two drivers who they need to win at Daytona. Not ideal at all. But this situation, I don't know if it impacts their chemistry, but it definitely impacts their confidence going into Daytona. It's like, can we trust each other? Like, hey, did you get the car filled all the way? Are all the lug nuts tight? Like, things like that at Daytona might come into play. And, they're still alive for the Owners' Championship because they're still in that. They're up 30 over Bubba Wallace in that. But that could go away too. Bubba Wallace could end up winning or outpointing him at Daytona and bump him out of that. I don't know. I think something like this is just, it's not acceptable if you're going to be in this championship. And quite frankly, this might have been it to take him out of it.
It's a great point, Alex. The Owners' Championship is so underrated. I feel like it doesn't get nearly enough coverage or attention. I guess it's because most of the time it's pretty much the exact same as the Drivers' Championship. But we always talk so much about the constructors in Formula One. I feel like we should talk more about the owners on the NASCAR side of things, especially when we have situations like this where we've had a suspension or a driver missing races due to injury or points penalties that affect one but not the other. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as well. But I want to turn the clock back to, I think it was 2010, when Jimmy Johnson had just wrapped up his fifth consecutive championship. The other Hendrick Motorsports cars weren't doing so well. I think Jeff Gordon was on a stretch of one win over 3 years from 2008 to 2010. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wasn't doing too well either. So what did Hendrick Motorsports do? They swapped every crew chief not named Chad Canals around. Alan Gustafson changed teams. Lance McGrew changed teams. Steve Letarte changed teams. And all three of those cars, the 5, the 24, and the 48, all started to improve. Steve Letarte formed a very strong relationship with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Alan Gustafson is still with the same team to this day. And Lance McGrew, I think, even picked up Mark Martin's team a little bit as well in 2011 from where they were in 2010. So, I think that wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility if Hendrick looks at the situation. If both Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman missed the playoffs, I know they obviously both missed several races this year. That plays no small role into that, but they might say, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's change some things around a bit. Maybe these drivers and crew chiefs will have better chemistry with one another than the current combinations we have, and we'll see what happens in 2024. I would not put that past Hendrick Motorsports. I don't know that one incident like what we saw today at the Glen is going to be the catalyst for that, but I just think when you look at the overall picture, I wouldn't put it past Hendrick to consider making a change like that in the offseason.